My name is Margaret Hayes and I'm 58 years old. For most of my life I believed that being a good daughter meant swallowing your pride, biting your tongue, and putting family first no matter what. That belief nearly destroyed me. It was a Thursday afternoon in late September when my world fell apart. I remember because the maple tree outside Mom's kitchen window had just started turning that brilliant shade of copper that always reminded me of her hair when she was younger. I had driven over to her house like I did every week, grocery bags in hand, ready to help her with whatever she needed. Mom was 82, still living in the same house where I grew up. After Dad passed away 5 years ago, I had made it my mission to look after her. Every week, I'd drive the 40 minutes from my apartment, bring her groceries, clean her house, take her to doctor's appointments, manage her medications. My brother Daniel, who lived just 10 minutes away, barely visited, maybe once a month if she was lucky. But somehow, he remained the golden child in her eyes. That Thursday started like any other. I let myself in with my key, called out a cheerful hello, and started unpacking the groceries. Mom was in the living room, watching her afternoon game show. I could hear the familiar music through the walls. After I put everything away, I walked into the living room with a cup of tea for her, made just the way she liked it. 2 sugars, a splash of milk. She took it without looking at me, her eyes fixed on the television. I sat down in Dad's old armchair and pulled out the stack of bills I'd brought in from her mailbox. This was part of our routine. I'd help her sort through everything, make sure nothing important got missed. That's when I saw it, a letter from the mortgage company. Past due notice, final warning before foreclosure proceedings. My hands started shaking. I looked at the date. This wasn't the first notice, this was serious. Mom, I said quietly, "What's this about the mortgage?" She didn't turn her head. "Keep your voice down. I'm watching this." "Mom, this says you're 3 months behind. They're threatening foreclosure. Why didn't you tell me?" She set her teacup down with a sharp clink. "It's none of your business. None of my business? Mom, you could lose the house. How long has this been going on?" She finally turned to look at me, and the coldness in her eyes made me flinch. "If you must know, I've been having trouble since your father died. The life insurance wasn't as much as we thought. I've been managing..." "Managing? Mom, you're about to lose everything. How much do you owe?" She waved her hand dismissively. "A few thousand. Daniel said he'd help me." My heart sank. Daniel said a lot of things. "Daniel? Mom, when did he say that?" "Last month. He promised he'd take care of it." I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. Despite working full-time as an office manager and barely making ends meet in my own small apartment, I had been carefully saving money, not for anything special, just in case. I guess some part of me always knew this day might come. "How much exactly?" She told me. $18,000. I felt the number hit me like a physical blow. That was nearly everything I had saved over the past 5 years. Money I'd been putting away, dreaming maybe one day I could take a real vacation, or finally fix the transmission in my old car, or just have something for emergencies. "I'll pay it," I said. Mom looked at me with surprise. "You will?" "Of course I will. You're my mother. I'm not going to let you lose Dad's house." What I didn't say was that I'd been sacrificing for her my whole life. I didn't say that I'd postponed my own dreams, my own needs, my own life, to make sure she was okay. I didn't say that Daniel, who made 3 times my salary at his tech company, who drove a BMW and took exotic vacations, hadn't bothered to follow through on his promise. I just said I'd pay it, because that's what I did, that's what I'd always done. The next morning I went to the bank and initiated the wire transfer. $18,000, gone, just like that. My safety net, my emergency fund, my tiny little dream of something more. I transferred it to the mortgage company and sent Mom a copy of the receipt. She texted back 3 words, "Thank you, Margaret. That should have been enough. Gratitude received, crisis averted, move on." But something inside me had shifted. As I sat in my car in the bank parking lot, staring at my new account balance, I felt something I hadn't allowed myself to feel in a very long time. Resentment. 2 weeks passed. I went back to my routine. Work, home, sleep, repeat. On Thursday, I made the drive to Mom's house again, groceries in hand, but this time, when I walked in, I found Daniel's BMW in the driveway. I felt my stomach tighten. Daniel never visited on Thursdays. He knew that was my day. I let myself in and heard laughter from the living room. Mom's delighted laugh, the one she reserved for Daniel. I walked in to find them sitting together on the couch, a spread of takeout food on the coffee table. Expensive takeout from that Italian place downtown that charged $20 for pasta. "Oh, Margaret," Mom said, barely glancing at me. "We already ate." Daniel brought dinner. Daniel gave me his trademark grin, the one that had charmed teachers and bosses and everyone else his whole life. "Hey sis, just thought I'd surprise Mom with her favorite." I set the grocery bags down in the kitchen, my hands clenched tight. Through the doorway, I could hear them chatting. Mom asking about his work, his new promotion, his upcoming trip to Hawaii. I unpacked the groceries in silence, each item feeling heavier than the last. When I came back to the living room, Daniel was showing Mom photos on his phone. "Look at this resort," he was saying, "right on the beach, 5 stars. I can't wait." "That sounds wonderful, darling," Mom said. "You work so hard, you deserve it." I stood in the doorway, invisible. Finally, I spoke up. "Mom, did you get the receipt I sent? For the mortgage?" Yes, she said, waving her hand. "All taken care of. Very helpful." Helpful. $18,000 was helpful. Daniel looked up. "Oh yeah, sorry about that, sis. Things got busy at work and I completely forgot I'd promised Mom I'd handle that. Thanks for jumping in." I stared at him. He was sorry he forgot. Forgot that his mother was about to lose her home, but not too busy to book a Hawaiian vacation. Something inside me cracked. "Actually," I said, my voice coming out steadier than I expected, "I need to talk to you both about something." "Can it wait?" Mom asked. "Daniel's only here for a little while." "No," I said, "it can't wait." They both looked at me with surprise. I never insisted. I never pushed. I just paid $18,000 to save this house, I said. That was almost everything I had saved. And I did it because Daniel promised you he would help, but he forgot. "Oh, Margaret, don't be dramatic," Mom said. "Dramatic? Mom, I've been coming here every single week for 5 years. I bring your groceries, clean your house, take you to appointments, manage your medications. Daniel visits once a month if you're lucky. But somehow, I'm the one being dramatic?" Daniel stood up. "Hey, I'm busy. I have a demanding job." "I have a job too," I said. "I work 40 hours a week, but I still make time." Mom's face was hardening. I could see the storm coming. "I don't like your tone, Margaret." "My tone? Mom, I just gave you $18,000. I think I'm entitled to some acknowledgement." "I didn't ask you to do that," she snapped. "That was your choice." The words hit me like ice water. My choice. As if I'd had a choice. As if letting her lose the house was ever an option I could live with. "You're right," I said quietly. "It was my choice. Just like it's been my choice to put my life on hold for you. Just like it's been my choice to sacrifice while Daniel does whatever he wants." "Oh, here we go," Daniel said, rolling his eyes. "The martyr routine?" "Martyr?" I turned to him. "When's the last time you spent more than an hour with Mom? When's the last time you took her to the doctor? When's the last time you did anything besides show up for dinner and make her laugh?" "That's enough," Mom said, standing up. Her voice was sharp, cutting. "You're being ungrateful, Margaret. Ungrateful? Yes, ungrateful. After everything I've done for you. I raised you, gave you a home, sacrificed for you. And this is how you repay me? By throwing money in my face and demanding praise? I wasn't throwing it in your face. I just wanted you to understand what it meant to me. What it cost me. Everything costs you something, doesn't it?" Mom's voice was rising now. "You're always the victim, always suffering, always sacrificing." "Well, I didn't ask for any of it. I didn't ask you to hover over me like I'm helpless. I didn't ask you to give up your precious savings." The room was spinning. I looked at Daniel, hoping for support, for anything. He was looking at his phone. "Maybe I should go," I said. "Maybe you should," Mom said, "and maybe you should think about whether you want to keep doing this if it makes you so miserable." "I don't need your resentful charity, Margaret." The words hung in the air between us. Resentful charity. 5 years of my life reduced to resentful charity. "You know what?" I said, and my voice was shaking now. "You're right. Maybe I am resentful. Maybe I am tired of being the one who shows up. Maybe I'm tired of watching Daniel get praised for the bare minimum while I give everything and get nothing." "Then get out," Mom said. Her face was red now, her voice loud. "If you're so miserable, if I'm such a burden, then get out and never come back." The room went silent. Even Daniel looked up from his phone. "What?" I whispered. "You heard me. Get out. Get out and never come back. I don't want your help if it comes with all this bitterness. Go on. Leave." I stood there for a long moment, waiting for her to take it back, waiting for her to say she didn't mean it. But she just stared at me, her jaw set, her eyes hard. So I left. I walked out of that house without another word. I got in my car, drove away, and didn't look back. The first week was the hardest. I kept reaching for my phone to call her, to check if she needed anything. Every Thursday, my body knew it was time to drive to her house. But I didn't. She had told me to never come back, so I didn't. Daniel sent me one text, "Mom's pretty upset, maybe you should apologize." I didn't respond. The second week, I started to feel something unexpected, relief. I came home from work and my evening was my own. Thursday came and I went to the grocery store for myself, bought things I liked, went home and cooked a meal just for me. I watched the shows I wanted to watch. I went to bed when I was tired. For the first time in 5 years, I wasn't living on someone else's schedule. But the relief was mixed with grief. I grieved for the relationship I'd wanted with my mother. I grieved for the acknowledgement I'd never receive. I grieved for all the years I'd spent, hoping that if I just did enough, gave enough, sacrificed enough, she would finally see me. 3 weeks after I left, my friend Patricia called me. Patricia had been my friend since high school, and she'd watched my relationship with Mom play out for decades. "How are you doing?" she asked. "I'm okay," I said. "It's strange. I feel guilty and relieved at the same time." "That makes sense," she said. "Margaret, can I tell you something?" "Of course. I've watched you with your mother for 40 years, and the truth is, you've been trying to earn her love by being useful. But love doesn't work that way. You can't earn it by sacrificing yourself. Real love doesn't require you to disappear." Her words hit something deep inside me. I'd been disappearing my whole life, making myself smaller, quieter, more convenient, believing that if I could just be helpful enough, essential enough, maybe I'd finally matter. 4 weeks after I left, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Barbara, Mom's neighbor. "Margaret, I think you should know your mother fell yesterday. She's okay, but she's in the hospital. I thought someone should tell you." My heart seized. "Is she all right?" "She broke her wrist. They're keeping her overnight for observation." "She's going to be fine." I sat down heavily on my couch. "Where's Daniel?" "I don't know, dear. I just thought you should know." After I hung up, I sat there for a long time. Every instinct in me screamed to get in the car, to go to her. But another part of me, a newer, quieter part, said, "You don't have to. She told you to never come back. She meant it, and going back now would just reset everything. You'd fall back into the same pattern and nothing would change." I didn't go to the hospital that night. I sent flowers instead, with a card that said, "I hope you feel better soon. Love, Margaret." Daniel sent me an angry text. "Really? Flowers? She's our mother." I replied, "Then maybe you should be there." He didn't respond. Mom came home from the hospital 2 days later. Barbara called to let me know, and then, over the next few weeks, something interesting happened. My phone started ringing. People from Mom's church, her neighbors, her friends, they'd heard she'd fallen. They'd heard she needed help. And suddenly there was a whole network of people checking in on her, bringing her meals, driving her to appointments. She hadn't been alone all this time. She'd had a community. I'd just been so busy being her everything that I'd never noticed. 6 weeks after I left, I got a call from Daniel. This time I answered. "We need to talk," he said. "Okay, Mom's struggling. She won't admit it, but she is. Her wrist is healing, but she's lonely. She misses you." "Then she can call me," I said. "You know she won't. She's too proud." "Then I guess we're at an impasse." There was a long pause. "Look," he said, and his voice was different now. Less confident. "I know I haven't helped much. I know you've done most of the work. I'm sorry." The apology caught me off guard. I didn't know what to say. "I talked to my therapist about this," he continued. "About Mom, about you, about our family. And she helped me see some things. I've been taking you for granted. I've been letting you carry all the responsibility because it was easier for me. And that wasn't fair." I felt tears starting to form. "No," I said quietly. "It wasn't. I want to do better, I want to help more. But I think Mom needs to hear from you. She won't say it, but she's waiting for you to come back. She told me to never come back, I said. She was very clear. She was angry. She didn't mean it. How do I know that? How do I know this won't just happen again the next time I don't meet her expectations? I don't know, he said honestly, but maybe that's something you two need to figure out together. After I hung up with Daniel, I sat with my thoughts for a long time. The truth was, I missed my mother. Not the version of her who dismissed my sacrifices and took me for granted, but the woman who had taught me to garden, who had sung to me when I was sick, who had been my whole world when I was small. That woman was still in there somewhere, but I couldn't keep sacrificing myself to find her. 2 more weeks passed. It was late October now. The trees were almost bare. I was at home on a Saturday morning, drinking coffee and reading, when my phone rang. This time, it was Mom. My hand shook as I answered. Hello? Margaret? Her voice was small, uncertain. Nothing like the sharp tone she'd used when she told me to leave. Hi, Mom. There was a long pause. I don't know how to do this, she finally said. Do what? Apologize. I've never been good at it. I waited, my heart pounding. I shouldn't have said what I said. I shouldn't have told you to leave. I was angry and I lashed out, and I've regretted it every day since. Tears were running down my face now. Why were you angry? Because you were right, she said, and her voice broke. You were right about everything. You've been the one who showed up. You've been the one who sacrificed. And instead of thanking you, I took it for granted. Because it was easier to take you for granted than to admit how much I needed you. I wiped my eyes. Mom, I need you to understand something. I can't go back to how things were. I can't keep giving everything and getting nothing back. I can't keep being invisible while Daniel gets praised for showing up once a month. I know, she said, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible. I'm sorry I didn't see how much you were giving up for me. Your father used to tell me I was too hard on you. He said I expected too much. I think he was right. I took a shaky breath. I love you, Mom, but I need things to be different. They will be, she said. I promise. Daniel has been coming by more. He's been helping. And I've been learning to ask my friends for help too. I don't need you to be my everything, Margaret. I just need you to be my daughter. Those words broke something open inside me. I just need you to be my daughter, not her caretaker, not her servant, not her solution to every problem. Just her daughter. Can I come see you? I asked. I'd like that, she said. I'd like that very much. I drove to her house that afternoon. The 40-minute drive felt longer than usual, my heart racing the whole way. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw Daniel's car there too. He'd said he'd meet me there, to be a buffer if things got difficult. Mom answered the door herself. Her wrist was still in a cast, but she looked stronger than I'd expected. We stood there for a moment, looking at each other. Then she opened her arms and I stepped into them. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, my girl. We stood there in her doorway, holding each other, and I let myself cry. All the years of hurt, all the resentment, all the longing for something I thought I'd never have, it all came out. When we finally pulled apart, we went inside. Daniel was in the living room, looking nervous. He stood when I came in. Hey, sis, he said. Hey. He walked over and pulled me into a hug. I'm going to do better, he said quietly. I promise. We all sat down together and we talked, really talked. For the first time in years, maybe in decades, we were honest with each other. Mom admitted how scared she'd been after Dad died, how alone she'd felt. Daniel admitted he'd been avoiding the reality of Mom getting older because it frightened him. And I admitted that I'd been using my caregiving as a way to feel needed, to feel valuable, because some part of me had always felt like I had to earn my place in the family. It wasn't easy. There were tears, there were hard truths, there were moments of defensiveness and hurt. But we pushed through. Because for the first time, we were all trying. Over the following months, things slowly changed. Daniel started visiting every week. He set up a schedule, put reminders in his phone. He took Mom to her doctor's appointments, handled her finances, did the heavy lifting I'd always done alone. We divided the responsibilities, and suddenly, they felt manageable. Mom started being more independent, too. She joined a senior center, made new friends, started taking art classes. She seemed younger, lighter. It turned out that having someone do everything for you isn't actually loving. It's suffocating, and I started building a life for myself. I took that vacation I'd always dreamed about, a week in the mountains with Patricia. I fixed my car. I started dating someone, a kind man named Robert who I'd met at work. I let myself be happy without feeling guilty about it. My relationship with Mom changed too. It became more balanced. I visited her, but not out of obligation, out of genuine desire to see her. We had coffee together, worked in her garden, watched old movies. She asked about my life, really asked, and listened to the answers. She met Robert and told me she was happy for me. She started saying thank you, not just for the big things but for the small ones too. One afternoon in spring, almost a year after I'd walked out of her house, Mom and I were sitting in her garden. The tulips were blooming, bright red and yellow. She was sketching them for her art class, her cast long since removed. "You know," she said, not looking up from her sketch, "your father would be proud of you." I looked over at her. "What do you mean?" "He always said you were the strong one, the brave one." I didn't understand what he meant then, but I do now. Why now? Because it takes strength to walk away. It takes courage to demand better. I was angry when you left, but you were right to do it. You saved us, Margaret. You saved our relationship by refusing to let it stay broken. I felt tears welling up again. I seem to cry a lot these days, but they're different tears now. Not tears of frustration or loneliness, but tears of release, of healing. I couldn't keep disappearing, I said. I couldn't keep making myself small. "I know," she said, finally looking at me. "And I'm sorry I ever made you feel like you had to. You are not small, Margaret. You never were. You're the biggest presence in my life. And I'm grateful for you every single day." We sat there in the warm spring sunshine, mother and daughter, finally seeing each other clearly. It hadn't been a fairy tale transformation. There were still hard days, still moments when old patterns tried to reassert themselves. But we were both trying now. We were both showing up, not just me. That's what love is, I've learned. Not sacrifice that leaves you empty, not giving until there's nothing left. Love is two people meeting in the middle, seeing each other, honoring each other. Love is saying I need things to be different, and having the other person say, okay, let's make them different. Love is knowing when to walk away, and love is knowing when to come back. I'm 58 years old, and for the first time in my life, I feel seen. Not for what I can do, not for how useful I am, but for who I am. And it turns out, that's enough. It's always been enough. I just had to believe it myself first. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about courage, family, and finding your voice. And please, leave a comment below telling us your thoughts. Have you ever had to walk away to save a relationship? How did you find the courage to demand better? Your stories matter, and we'd love to hear them. Thank you for listening.